Part 2. Okay. I'm not, like, just go watch part 1. If you haven't, this won't make any sense. So, I don't remember where the fuck I left off, but I'm just gonna dive back in wherever I feel like it. So, you might know that I went through a pretty fucking horrible breakup this winter. The crazy thing about this is that, like, I was in a 4-year relationship while I was in Halifax, and that was the most healing breakup ever. It was so cathartic. I feel like we just left it with such integrity and respect. This one was like such a deep betrayal, and it was such a deep betrayal that it like literally made me fucking sick. So I'm not going to like go super into that, but like the long and short of it is that like basically this person cheated on me. They told me about it. I was like, okay, cool, like I forgive you because I don't think that you did that because of me. I think that you did that because you literally hate yourself and like are self-sabotaging this and just can't admit the things that you want. So like let's talk about that. Like I'm a very open person. Let's keep thinking about this. Continued to betray me even through that. And I ended up getting very, very, very physically ill because I also was like in complete fucking denial of the fact that I should just not be with this person, and that they were like literally incapable of holding space for me, and or like just like not like just a narcissist, like truly a narcissist. So I had a crazy kidney infection during that time, and like a kidney infection where like I was hospitalized several times for it. When they did like the tests for it, they were like, you have a multi-strain bacteria that's highly resistant to antibiotics. Like this is really rare. We have no idea how you got this. I also had no UTI symptoms or anything. Like it just was like, and so in TCM, traditional Chinese medicine or traditional Eastern Asian medicines, your kidney is related to fear. And what I learned through tantric numerology is that like fear is like one of like, it's like sort of like the emotion that I'm most challenged by and have to like kind of like move through and like find like space and ways to deal with that. And part of this retreat was doing Kundalini practices, and that's where we got into the tantric numerology of just like, okay, like Kundalini is dealing with all these 10 different bodies and opening them up, and you have all these different practices that you can do, and it's I'm not even in a little fucking bit doing it justice. If you want to go learn about Kundalini yoga, do it, but we were doing these practices and they were profound. And one that we did every day was something called the breath of fire. And breath of fire is this like navel oriented, like pretty intense breathing. For me and like my karma being the pranic body, the breath body, this was really powerful for me and also really challenging for me. Also learning that was crazy because like one of my favorite ways to just absolve myself of my own power and growth is to smoke weed, and I love smoking. I love it. But I have to like learn boundaries with it, and I learned to have a relationship with it that is not about suppressing myself. So anyways, we're doing this breath work, and for the first like 5 days when I'm doing it, I'm getting this cramp, and I'm getting this cramp up this like urinary tract line that I felt like so much discomfort in when I was going through this experience, specifically after I'd been diagnosed with the kidney infection and like things were sort of moving down my body. And it was really intense, and I was like, this is really interesting that this is coming up here right now. Before I left here, I'd had an interaction with my ex where I basically like I have a shirt of his that he left here, I think subconsciously on purpose, because it's like a control mechanism to just be like, there's one last thing that I need to get from you. And I basically was just like, come get your shirt before I leave, or like I'm getting rid of it. And like he's had ample opportunity, like over a month of back and forth. Like he was like, just so much time, and just like kept fucking with me about it. And I was like, okay, I'm really like, you literally are doing this to like control me and manipulate me, and you're not aware of it, but like that is the truth of this, because also like you want to have a reason to be back in my life. And so before I left, I just was like, you can come get it, and if you don't get it by then, like I'm getting rid of it. And he was like, well, I'm just gonna wait until you feel safe and ready to see me. And I was like, no, like that's not gonna happen. Like it's not about being safe or ready. I don't want to see you, and I don't want to have you in a future timeline and have this burden of having to interact with you in the future. I don't want it. I'm releasing it, and like I need you to respect that, and also respect the fact that I've given you ample opportunity to do it, and you keep fucking with it. Like you keep not showing up to get it. Like you keep twisting it around. I've told you I don't want to see you. You said you would just come grab it. You didn't do that. Like I left it out all night. Like just fucking crazy stuff where I was like, okay, I'm not doing anything for you anymore. Like this is like I'm done with it. I'm getting rid of it, and I was like sending him these voice messages because we were voice memoing back and forth, and I just was like, you can literally hear in my voice the anxiety that I have talking to you. Like it makes me feel physically sick to see you. And this is like, I, as someone who is like a sacral authority, so in human design, you have like a certain way that your intuition comes through, and you can learn about that through your human design, and mine is sacral authority. Okay, it's like either a yes or a no. Only once ever else in my life was I so emotionally distraught and so emotionally repulsed, which comes back to the osteopathy thing, where she was holding this repulsion in my kidney, and I literally I couldn't deal with it. Like I couldn't face the fact that I was actually disgusted with this person, what it is that they did to me, and also like the ways in which I continued to engage with them. I'm also sorry for the noise in the background. No one is playing with plastic, and she's a baby, so I'm just gonna let her play with plastic. She's fine. But like it came through in my body, and I would literally vomit every time I saw him. Every time there was an emotional conversation, like as soon as I knew that like he had betrayed me in this way, and like the way that I also betrayed myself in order to move through trying to find forgiveness and like live on my values and whatever, like it made me physically fucking ill on like many levels. So there's my kidney, there was like this like puking, all of that. And so I'm like on voice notes with him just being like, I feel physically ill even talking to you right now. Like there's no way that I'm holding space for that in my future. I don't want it. Like I don't want it. And like what I'm hopeful for is coming to peace with that. I'm not hopeful for changing that. Like I'm okay with not seeing you. And like it took me a long time to admit that, because I want to be the person who can be friends with you, and I'm friends with all of my other exes, and also none of my other exes were like that, treated me with that level of disrespect. Okay, like none, like we've all had our shit, but like nothing like this whatsoever. Nothing to this level of manipulation and narcissism and just like absolute fuckery. Like, oh, and all he says after is just bye. Bye. And again, deep forest lore, but basically a year ago, I went through a friendship breakup with someone who I really was not aligned with anymore, but like we had been best friends since like grade 9. She was like my sister to me. But there was a lot of questions that came up in me moving here and us becoming like physically close again, about just like how do our values actually line up, and like do we actually have the same values? Like I don't think so. And yeah, just like a lot of things that had happened and unfolded that I was just like, we're like not in alignment. And long and short of it is that basically she just was like, I like really don't like that you are with this person. And to be fair, like in hindsight, I'm like, yeah, like I can see that, but also it was canon and I needed to go through it and I needed to change it, and like that was my experience. And she was just like, yeah, like I just like she thought that because I was not choosing what she wanted from me, that I wasn't making space for her in my life, and sent me a message that was just like, I'll always love you and wish the best for you, and like I hope one day you have space for me in your life. And I was like, it really sounds like you're breaking up with me right now, so if you are ending like a 14-year friendship, I think that it's really important that we like actually have a face-to-face conversation about that. And I never heard from her ever again. The next day I woke up and I was blocked on everything. Whole other thing. I grieved that so fucking hard. So hard. It was really, really, really traumatic for me, honestly, and he was there for that. I witnessed that. So I'm getting this from him where he's just like, bye. That's all he says, and I was like, okay, is this like an Ariel bye where you're just not going to say anything to me ever again, or is this a like, this conversation is really hard to have and it's hard to hear and I don't have space for it? And he says nothing, and I'm like, you know what? I'm at peace with that. I can let that live. I can let that go. I'm gonna go to Greece. I'm gonna do my whole thing. I'm gonna kiki, whatever. I've also just like had like expansive experiences with love and connection this summer, and really showed me like it just showed me so much. It just showed me what it means to actually feel fucking safe with someone. and the quality of experience that comes from that. And yeah, it was completely fucking different, and it blew my mind and broke my heart wide open in the best way, in a completely different way. And I was like, wow, you know what, I just like don't need to do this anymore. So I've released this, okay? I've released this, but we're doing this breath work and I keep getting this cramp. One of the days towards the end, I get a message from him, okay? And the message is basically just like, sorry for the lack of communication. I thought it was really like unfair of you to basically just like conflate me with this person. And like I was really hurt by that, and I don't want to text or voice, so I don't want to start this conversation again, but one day in the future when you do feel safe to talk to me again, like I would love that. And like if you're deciding that you don't want that, then I'm leaving it in the universe's hands, and like da-da-da. I've already made it very clear that I don't want to see this person, and that is already the choice. He's texting me while also saying, like, I don't want to start this over text anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Basically just being like, I don't want to hear what you have to say, but, like, I just want to come back in and be like, what you said really hurt me, and, like, that's that, and da-da-da-da. And I was like, no, sorry. Absolutely not. And sent him a message that was like, with the most loving kindness that I can muster here, like, I feel nothing for you anymore, okay? I'm not angry at you. I'm not sad about this. I feel at peace. I told you that I don't want to see you again. Like, that's the universe's will through me. That's also my personal will through this. That's that. Like, I hope that you can live with what you've done. I hope that you can be at peace with it. I hope you can be a kind and honest and a person of integrity. And I hope that you have been loved adequately through this experience and through the other people around you, that you can stop fucking hating yourself so much that you are destroying other people. I didn't say it quite in that way, but like I said it very eloquently, and it was very much a last word, like, don't fucking talk to me again. I've said what I said. The next morning we do Kundalini. It's the first day that I don't have a cramp. Release that shit. It was so good. And I'm really proud of myself for that, because that was really hard for me. And a lot of why I was holding on to that was like, I was like, well, a lot of my path here is about forgiveness. And like, what does it actually mean to forgive someone? And here's the thing. I do forgive him. Like, I do forgive him. Because, wow, it just must suck to hate yourself so much that, like, you can't engage with your own truth, and you are gaslighting yourself about what you want, and you are like hurting the people that love you so deeply because you truly just don't feel worthy of it. And like, we've talked about this, okay? Like, this is not me like psychoanalyzing and making it up. Like, we have talked about this. I have gone to an immense amount of therapy about this. We are like a full circle a year from learning about this to me being in this, and I'm like, I am like just so fucking like over it. And I'm like, he's blocked on social media. Like, it's like pretty obvious that I don't want to see him or talk to him again. I made it very clear, like, talking to you makes me physically sick, and yet he continues, you know. So just like setting that boundary and seeing that and moving through that, and like actually seeing how transformative that was. Not that like really crazy things started happening after that, but like the magnetism that I possessed after that. So like, we are doing this retreat at like a resort. The bartenders are kikiing with us, and like with me, they're like giving me their Instagram. They're like, oh, like, if you need anything, let me know. Like, go to fill up my water bottle, and they're like, do you want me to put a little drink in here? Like, just like things where I'm like, oh my god, like, okay. And like, to be fair, I'm like in Greece, I'm tanned, I'm like in my element, being taken care of by myself, by my community, by the people here. But it was like next fucking level. My Airbnb host, like, he's messaging me and he's like, if you need anything, here's my WhatsApp number. They've like arranged to come and pick me up from the hotel and stuff, like going above and beyond. And then we're out on the town one night, like after dinner, and there's this like whole kind of like music festival that's happening. It happens a couple times in the summer on this island, in like their main square. And what I remember is, like, from my Airbnb like profile, the people who run it are like professional musicians, and I like see them, like, it shows you their faces, like, we know how Airbnb works. I literally walked past my Airbnb host, and so I sent a message and I was like, hey, like, it's me, like, your host on, or like your guest that's on Sunday. Crazy, but like, are you in Hora right now? And like, are you playing music tonight? Because I'm pretty sure I just walked by you. And he was like, yeah, actually, I am here. And, like, you probably just saw me and my brother. We're not playing until later, but, like, come find us. Come have a drink with us. I didn't end up doing that. I, like, really, like, was having, like, the best girls trip. And, like, that was kind of the point of it. But I was like, oh, my God. Like, if you see me, come say hi. Like, this is what I'm wearing. Da-da-da-da-da. And then there's a point where we're all at this wine bar and we're sitting at, like, I don't know, this, like, wall, and across there is a restaurant. There's a restaurant, this little cafe, and, like, one of the people who's, like, running and cooking, like, keeps looking at me. And I want to say I'm also, like, in a fucking stunning floor-length white silk gown. I'm, like, gonna get married in this thing one day. I know that. But I'm just, like, in my element. You know, I've got these, like, cute undies on that you can see underneath. We're, like, magnetic and tan, and all of us are just, like, radiating. And the next day, I post a little, like, picture of all the pictures that I have of me in this dress, and I tag the island. And the person who owns that cafe messages me and is, like, talking to me, and it's just like, hey, like, you know, like, he's, like, asking me about my poetry, da-da-da-da-da. It leads into, like, he's like, oh, I really want to see you, like, you know, like, would you want to go to the beach today, da-da-da. And I was, like, not interested in this at all, and I just, but, like, it was, like, one of those things where I was like, wow, like, it's coming on really strong right now. Like, my Airbnb host is a literal fucking well, no, please stop. Stop it. Literal angel comes and picks me up. We have, like, the best conversation. He's like, if you're romantic, like, you should definitely wake up and watch the sunrise here. His mom comes down to the Airbnb because I guess they live above it, and they're actually fucking beautiful. She comes down and she's made a homemade cake, and she's like, here's this homemade cake and these little sweet treats, da-da-da-da-da. I'm just, like, really being cared for. My Airbnb host, like, drives me back into town so I can, like, go to dinner with my friends. He, like, messages me and is like, just, like, if you need anything, let me know. Like, I just like, want you to know that you're not stranded, and, like, I'll come get you if you need, like, just as being an angel. Like, it's actually being, and I felt, like, really deeply safe too. I just want to say that, like, it wasn't creepy on any level. He's, like, just, like, this 25-year-old little fucking angel. I'm 29 for context, for anyone who doesn't know that. And was just being so sweet, and we had, like, the best conversations. And so anyways, there are very few buses that go anywhere on the island. My Airbnb is, like, a good hour plus walk from the town that I'm in. I miss my bus. Okay, I missed my bus. We got the bus I'm going, whatever. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm walking back. It's like, my Airbnb host was working. I didn't, like, know that when he was going to be off. And I was like, I'm just going to walk. So I walk for about 30 minutes. And a pizza delivery guy runs by and just puts his hazards on, rolls down his window. He's like, what are you doing out here? I was like, I missed my bus. He's like, where are you going? And I tell him, he's like, not a problem. I'm driving you there. So the pizza delivery guy delivers me to my Airbnb. I give him a little kiss on the cheek. We have our little moment. It was really, really sweet. And it was just, like, such a quintessential Greek island experience. And also, it was so interesting as I was walking, and I was like, I wonder if I will get picked up, or, like, what's gonna happen. Like, I'm really kind of in resonance with that. And this entire time, I'm also, like, listening to my body. Like, I'm feeling really safe, and I just want to put that out there for anyone who's gonna watch this and be like, Forrest, what the fuck were you doing? But I felt so safe the entire time. I really, really did. It was deeply transformative. And yeah, there were so many things that happened. So that night too, like, I get home, I'm in bed, I'm, like, doing my thing. My Airbnb host gets home. He's like, did you make it home okay? Da-da-da-da. I told him what happened. He's like, oh my God, that's so funny. But, like, yeah, that's, like, so island. And, like, I'm so happy that you were taken care of. And he was like, well, I'm gonna, like, smoke a cigarette and have a drink on the balcony if you want to join me. I was like, no, I'm okay. Like, thank you. I really appreciate it. But, like, I'm tired. I'm in bed. And, like, I just need to rest. And, yeah, and the next morning he came, picked me up, drove me to the port where I needed to go, gave me a big hug, was just like, I'll see you in a year when you're back, because I have to come back to Greece because one of my best friends is getting married, and I was like, I'm not done with this island, I need to come back here. Oh, anyways, there was just, like, so many of these, like, really beautiful, magnetizing, like, deep experiences, and also so many Pisces men. I'm also so, like, in it with a Pisces man right now, and I'm just, like, so transformed by their love. And, like, a person in my life who's, like, basically my dad, Randy, hi, shout out to you, who, like, dated my mom, but, like, anyways, the long and short of it is that, like, this man is, like, my fucking father, and he's a Pisces man. Like, there is just this transcendent quality to Pisces love for me in my life. And so many of the men that I was talking to were Pisces. It was really, really, really interesting. But then also, like, I have deeper lore from BC that doesn't, like, it does tie into this, because also part of my experience was me realizing after all this, after releasing all this stuff in my body and my ex and whatever, I was like, I'm like open to like love again. I'm open to being in love again. And it's not that I ever thought that I was like completely closed off and it was never gonna happen, but I was like dating sober and I was like, no, I'm not. I don't want it. I'm like rejecting this right now. And I just need to be here for myself and like in my own energy and just like really like call in like things that are like safe for me, where I feel cherished and loved and honored and like devoted to. Like, I have a Venus in Leo conjunct my sun in Leo in the second house, okay? So if you know what that means, great. If you don't, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna explain it here right now. But just like really powerful for me to be like seen and adored and cared for and like worship to a certain level, and not in a way of like, oh, I worship you, but like in a way of just like, I deeply honor you and I am devoted to you, because that's how I am too. Like, that's how I am, and that's how I need to be in love, and that's what I need from love. And I obviously didn't experience that with my fucking betraying, cheating, conniving ex, which is okay, because that was also a lesson in my worthiness, which is a whole other thing that like was really showing up through all of this. Other tidbits. There was a night that a bunch of us were walking back through like back from town down to our resort, and we had just gone to this temple that like is built into the mountainside, has the feminine symbol on the door, but it's also like closed off. It was a really interesting vibe. Like, we went up, we checked it out. We were just like in this, like, we're, you know, in this beautiful place and like tapping into like sisterhood and like this like beautiful quality of feminine energy and just like really healing. And anyways, we go and we leave there, and then we're walking down and we hear this meowing from the other side of the road, and down from the cliffs comes this tiny orange kitten. And we're like, oh my god, he's just like fucking alone, is alone and crying for us, and literally jumps into the arms of one of the women who are there. And we're like, I guess you're coming with us. And so we put him down. He literally follows us the whole way. We'll let us pick him up. Like, he's just like, he's there with us. He becomes our 20th member. We named him Temple after the temple. And yeah, Temple like really was this crazy kind of reflection of just like how love attracts love. So in Greece, there are cats fucking everywhere, okay? Most of them are like pretty friendly and chill. The ones that are resorts were kittens, and they were really like not super friendly. They like weren't, like, they didn't really want to be pet. They're still learning. They're really apprehensive, probably also because there's lots of people that are coming in and out. I know, I'm talking about kitties. I'm talking about you, sort of. And yeah, we had started to befriend some of them because, like, I don't know, we would have like leftover egg and cheese on our plates, and we'd be like, okay, they can lick it off, and they started to warm up to us. We brought Temple in, and they were letting us pet them. They were laying underneath our chairs. Temple really was just like, no, these women are safe, and they saved me, and like, I'm so in love with their love. He came up and would just like crawl into our laps during morning pages, like was just so fucking down to be loved. Also, it's like an orange cat. If you know orange cat energy, they're fucking crazy. He was not like that. It was so bizarre, but also so like, yeah, duh, of course this is happening. And those kittens really started to open up to us, and we were like, oh my god, like, love begets love. Like, they're saying that it's totally safe to do this. And I also just had so many transformative experiences with cats there. My first night there, so I was on Santorini, in this town called Pagos. Anyways, doesn't matter. One of the tourist destinations on this map is literally Greedy Cat. So of course I go to see Greedy Cat. She's a cat that's just like greedy for food and love. And we bond, we have our thing. The next morning I'm packing up and I open up the windows to my Airbnb. Doesn't Greedy Cat come on in and just hang out with me and kiki with me while I am... Okay, you cannot go up there right now, baby girl, because you're going to step on the keyboard. And is just like in my room, obsessed with me, hanging out with me. I'm like, this is fucking amazing. I love this. It was really like a weird thing, but also like such a huge piece of symbolism for me, where I was just like, yeah, this is powerful. Also this summer, like, I obviously got a cat, Winona Rose, and I named her Winona Rose, specifically the rose part, because rose symbolism was so big for me. And if you don't know about roses are said to be like the highest vibrational frequency, like in plants that you can find. And I was like, it was everywhere for me. It was in like this Pisces lover's front yard. It was just following me. It's been following me since my breakup. I literally even got a rose tattoo this summer on Vancouver Island. So much of that is happening. And there was just, like this like deep synchronicity that was going on. So we've got Temple, we've got Greedy Cat. There's also Beach Cat as well. There was this fat ass cat that was on one of the beaches that we went to. And just came waddling over and like plopped itself down next to me. Like we were in the sand and he was like curled up next to me, like letting me rub his belly. Like usually feral cats are like not quite like they won't let you go that far, but like it was so healing and transformative for me. And like this is not even getting into like just some of the stuff that we did and got to experience there. You know, on our second day we went for this silent hike towards this nude beach, and we're instructed to, if we felt comfortable, strip down and then just go and float for as long as possible in the water. It was my first experience ever at a nude beach, and I'm like so open to it, but it just was like my first kind of opportunity with it. And just like being the first one to like get down there, because I was at the front of the line, so I just went, and I was wearing a one-piece bathing suit, and I had this moment with myself where I was like, I really just want a skinny dip here, and am I gonna let myself do that? Because like it's not like I have the option to like just wear my bottoms, you know, and I would maybe be more comfortable with that. And I was like, I'm not going to let my fear override my desire right now. When I stripped down and I went, and it was the first one in the ocean, and just floated out there, and wow, it was really fucking transformative, and it really set the tone. And it was such an important thing to experience early on, because it really just made all of us so open and vulnerable and trusting of each other. And there were so many other experiences where we were just like, we were on a boat one day doing like this tour of the islands, and like there are men like running this boat, and we were like, you know what, like I feel like taking my top off and tanning more like while I'm on the boat. And we allowed ourselves to do that and be in this safe space, and these men were so fucking respectful, like not a word from them. It was incredible. It was so healing to also be in like Europe, where like it's just normal to have a fucking body. It's normal to have a body, and to be out in the world in that body. It was amazing. I really want more of that, and I think that everyone should experience that at some point, because it really just was like life changing to have that, and to have that with these women, and to move through that. And I don't know, there's like this like deep level of like kind of like exposure to yourself that happens in circumstances like that, and you really have to ask yourself, like, what is it that I'm going to choose from? Like, from where in myself am I going to choose from? We had days where like we all gave each other mermaid names. There was one girl who was just so like, she had this like fear of being in the she was jumping in the ocean off of a fucking boat, floating around, like just I can't even like put words to the depth of all of these experiences, but it healed me in profound ways. And by the last day that I was there, our last day, I openly wept for from like 6 a.m. to noon, just like tears strolling down my face. And I was like, this is just gonna be what it is, and you guys are just gonna have to kind of take it at face value and accept it. And like a lot of why I went on this retreat too was like, I just really wanted to do it to understand how it was done, and to understand what it was like to go into a setting like that, to see sort of like how it was set up. It was to experience it, but it was a lot deeper. I was like, these are people that I want to work with. I feel that there's a deeper connection here. Like, I am usually the community facilitator, okay? That is so much of the work that I have done. I've hosted hundreds of community events. I've done thousands of readings for people. Like, I've held so much space, and I really love it. I think it's such a gift and an honor, and I'm really skilled at it. It's something that I really love doing, and that I deeply value doing. And I was like, that is a lot more my speed. And at the end, you know, there's only a couple of us who like stayed a few days past the retreat and getting to sit with these women and really feel seen and honored and held by them and witnessed in my own power, and like being in the mud with them and just being like, oh my god, like they're the keys, but like we're all kind of building a wall, you know what I mean? Like they gave us the opportunity to come here and be together, but like we showed up to create this container, and just to be witnessed in that, and like having them being like, we want readings from you, like we see your gifts, we see your power. It was like so deeply affirming to me. Like, so like I admire these women so much, and I really feel that they are so empowered and so living in their truth, and are such a reflection of how I want to feel in my life. And it was just fucking incredible. Honestly, it was incredible to go there, to allow myself to go there, to be witnessed in this way, to like have them recognize that and reflect that back to me. Like there were other things that came forward through that, but like, yeah, just a transformation front to back. And I really just felt through all of that like there was something in me that was like, I am first of all willing to forgive myself. I'm willing to show up to the capacity that I need to. I have these tools and this knowledge and these skills, and I used them. It's not like I just was given them and then I was like, okay, like I have to, like, it's like when you're in this space, in this container, and you can really like apply it. Like my brain built like 6 months of neurological pathways, and that's because like we were supported on every level. We were supported like physically, cosmically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. It was fucking beautiful. It was beautiful. They did an incredible job, and also we all did an incredible job. Like all of us showing up there together, like the serendipity of it is not to be understated. The symbolism that we experienced there was just bananas. There were like hummingbird moths and ladybugs, and you know, we were there just before this like full moon eclipse in Pisces. Like we did rituals for it, and it just, oh, on every single level, like I don't even have adequate language for how transformative it was. But like I came home and I was like, I built my life here on a completely different energy than like what my energy is. I have to reform my life. But what was really interesting about that was like, it's not scary. Like I'm just so like, oh my god, like I see the tools, I have them, I understand what I need to do, and like let's fucking go. My first day back was really challenging because the like being in the reality of like how much my energy wants to go towards neurological pathways that I did develop here versus the neurological pathways that actually feel true to me and that I just nourished. And then the cognitive dissonance between being like, you just traveled for 30 hours and like you literally need to rest, and you're in like a different timeline, and like my brain like wanting to like latch onto that perfectionism and being like, I want to do this and that and like show up in this way, and just being like, okay, like you gotta find some ease and gentleness for yourself, like it's okay. And being able to live in that truth and just like recognize the tension that creates in my body. And then literally the next day, which is today, just like seeing how like, okay, like I let myself have that, and I woke up today and I was like, let's fucking go, let's go. I went to bed at like 8 p.m. I woke up at 5 a.m. and I was just like, I feel amazing. I'm gonna sit down and do my work. I just like, I want to, like, I don't feel resistance towards this. Like, this is so easy. Another thing that came up during the tantric numerology was this like kind of feeling that I have of like not having enough time, which it wasn't true, right? Like it was like this is a feeling or an impression that you have, and you also are like working through the reality that like that's not actually the truth, and you do have enough time, you always have enough time. But like these studies that they've done on procrastination are about how procrastination is not actually about like us putting off the task, but it's putting off the emotions that are associated with that task. And really, yeah, kind of being in this place where I was like, oh, okay, like I've dealt with those emotions. Like I've dealt with those emotions. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I'm here to do. I have firm evidence of that. And I also was just fucking witness to the depth and core of my being. 33333. Again, this is whatever, it doesn't matter. You watch the first one. But yeah, just like really feeling aligned and not feeling like I have to grasp at that alignment, not feeling like I have to hold on to it, but just feeling like all I have to do is just center the universe and my devotion for it and letting everything come forward. And god damn it if that isn't just so true. And it's been so transformative, and I just feel so lucky. I just feel so fucking lucky. And yeah, this has been an insane time that has touched upon so many things within me. This is still feels like it's scratching the surface, even though I've been talking for a literal hour and a half. But yeah, that was more or less Greece, without being like, here's literally everything that happened. Ate a lot of good food, saw a lot of great sights, swam in amazing beaches, touched the bones of the earth, wrote a lot of poetry, like, but yeah, I think the more profound things that happened were the things that just like were, yeah, like behind the scenes and like these deep undercurrents of my life, and seeing how all these patterns overlapped. Oh, when I was talking about the pattern, the app, so I was talking about like this cycle over like the 19 years and the relationship specifically with men. The other pattern I was going through is one to do with my work, and like just being like, your work is really going to pay off. Like if you are in alignment with your path, like keep going through it. Like there are things that are shifting and changing and falling away, and like there might be challenges like through this, but like just like if you know that you're where you're supposed to be, or like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, then that's perfect and amazing, and this is going to like truly transform your career for like the next X amount of time. And if you're not, then like this is going to align you, and like I, not to be like I'm obviously aligned, but like I'm obviously quite aligned with the work that I do, and I feel extremely fulfilled by it, and I'm so lucky for that. There were some things that I decided to release. That's also part of the manifesting generator energy, just like removing shame from the fact that like I'm just not supposed to do the same things forever, and there is supposed to be this cyclical nature to the things that I do. But yeah, I just like can't even conceive of what else is going to come forward from all of this. But I just know that, yeah, the more that I just keep listening and showing up, which is, you know, kind of the entire work that I do anyways for myself, but you know, it led me here. It like led me to all of this, and like there was a part of me that just was reaching back through time, through these meditations, through these experiences, just going like, look, Forrest, like I'm touching upon this past version of yourself, and I'm like letting her know that it's possible, and like every single desire that I have is like a future version of me calling back to myself and just saying, you want this because it's possible, because I'm here living it, and I need you to want it in order to move forward through it. And just like loving future me enough to listen to that. You know? Anyways, that is more or less my Greek lore part 2. If you have any further questions, curiosities, anything I didn't touch upon, any loose ends, let me know. But yeah, that's that. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks. I love you. Maybe I'll be back again with more other stuff. Who knows?